Kyra, as hopefully all of you know, and my TED Talk is called A Third of the World. It's more than just a chapter in your textbook, and my TED Talk is about death and history in today's generation. So to start us off, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the Black Plague, one of the world's most deadliest pandemics, and it originated in Asia, 1300s, spread across the Silk Road, and proceeded to decimate Eurasia with a mortality rate of 30 to 60% and as high as 80% to 100 in some areas. Entire towns, settlements, entire cultures were just decimated, wiped out, off the map. And over the course of 7 years, the plague killed around 75 to 200 million people. It's 28.5 million people a year roughly, and that's an equivalent to almost a third of the world. And it took just Europe over 150 years to recover from that. And as devastating as the Black Plague sounds, it's actually not what I'm here to talk about. I'm not here today to lecture you all about how terrible the Black Plague was, about how serious, how it's not taken seriously in class, and we all know it's not true. But in the world that we live in today, it's really easy to get caught up in this fast-paced society that we're moving, where everything's changing and evolving, and it's so easy to just forget about things that happened in the past, and we kind of forget about the consequences of an event like that. And I'm here to remind you that death is rarely questioned or even thought of. And in a history course, death can even become somewhat of a number, information. It's something that you put down for points, and it's not really something that you take in internally. And it's easy to just look at a textbook and see a number like a third or 200 million and not be able to grasp that, not being able to sort of take in and sort of understand what that really means. And therein lies the reason why I've given you these papers today. If you haven't already, just flip over your papers and see if, notice that some of you will have an X mark. And this symbolizes that in the probability of the Black Plague in this room, 45%, if you have an X, you die. And I know 200 million already sounds like a lot, but 200 million is Cleveland, Ohio, over 400 times over. That is a lot of people. But if you look around the room and you see that these people are your friends, right? You know that they have friends and family, they have hopes, they have dreams, they have thoughts, and that's not really that much different than the people who actually died in the plague. They aren't that different from you. And to me, knowing that those people who died had thoughts and emotions, they had goals and achievements and accomplishments just like me and just like all of you, that just makes 200 million seem that much bigger to me. And I hope that today I can make it seem like that much bigger to you too. History is not kept to be looked upon fondly like a high school yearbook 30 years from now. Not everyone is going to have their own little paragraph in a textbook so you can read about them and their accomplishments centuries later. Just like I'm sure that not every one of you is going to have an autobiography on the bestsellers list 30 years from now. But that doesn't make those who died in the plague any less important than anyone whose name will live on in fame or infamy forever. When our names are gone, all we have left is our legacies and contributions that we leave behind. And it may not seem like that much to you, but every single one of those people who died had a legacy and had a contribution to make the world that we live in today. And I think it would be a dishonor to sort of not remember, to remember them as just a third, as just 200 million. If anything, this course has taught me to seek out what's behind the number, the stories, the experiences, and to give voices to the forgotten points of view who can't really speak for themselves anymore. And I really don't want anyone here to just read the number and keep going. That's not at all what you need to be doing. And I'm not just talking about the plague. Historical event upon historical event has forfeited the lives of so many to make the world that we live in today. Khmer Rouge, the Spanish Inquisition, the Rwandan genocide. So many lives were given, both willingly and unwillingly, to make the society that we all take for granted sometimes today. And all those people who passed, they played their own important role in changing history. just like we all will in a few years ourselves. And to remember any of those people as just a number would be a disservice to them and to us. My grandmother told me something when I was young, and my grandfather passed, that I never really forgot. A man dies twice in his life. Once when his body rots as God intended, and the second when his name is spoken by the living for the last time. As the new generation of leaders that I know that we can be, we have a duty to prevent history not only from repeating itself, but from letting those voices die in silence. And I'm prepared to not let that happen. These people have already died once, and I'm not going to let them die a second time. And I hope that you took something away from that. Thank you.